Welcome everyone to another edition of our Crystalis Tournament supported by SpeedGaming. I'm Tornell357. I'm here with Axeman301.
Welcome.
What do you think about tonight's match?
I think this is going to be a pretty cool match.
Yeah, these two are both pretty experienced. Of course, Steve Axe being the creator of the Randomizer. But he's been practicing a lot lately, and he's been getting a lot better. It's been fun to watch him improve at the gameplay itself, not just the behind-the-scenes running of things, I guess I would say.
Nightdew, a longtime player with some pretty big wins in the Swiss round of this tournament.
Yes, definitely beaten some of the juggernauts of the community. It looks like here.
So we are in the losers bracket of the tournament, which means both of these players have lost a round in the bracket rounds, and this one is out of the tournament. The winner continues on to through the losers bracket.
That's correct. After all the strong matches that Nightdew had bestowed upon us, his last match, he had a couple of hiccups that I'm sure he doesn't feel great about. But it's definitely still a good match to watch overall. But it caused him to end up in the losers bracket. I was getting that. I can make my points here. So far we have the Sword of Thunder and the Ball of Fire. Looks like they both bought warp boots, I'm guessing. I missed that part. But
ooh, yeah, I did not see either.
They both have spent some money, that's all I can say. I didn't have my chat ready, so I was trying to get that going at the very start.
So we're seeing a fairly standard route because there's not much else they can do with the items they've got. The Sword of Thunder gives us the warp to Shiren. However, there's nowhere else we can get from there. So once we get the one item that Zebu gives us, we are on to other Sphere Zero spots.
So Steve is checking what the boat owner wants by talking to the boat owner's daughter. Nightdew gets the shell flute from the queen. The boat owner wanted the left pendant, if I saw it correctly, which they have. So Nightdew's going to head straight to the sea.
And we have an ocean start.
These are always the best, I feel like.
These are great starts.
Really, really, really points towards getting rabbit boots and doing ghetto flight. Which, would you like to explain what that is?
Well, we're going to find out what the progression is in a little bit, because there's really only one spot they can get from here. And that's the channel here. If we find the rabbit boots, that means the progression is going to be ghetto flight. It's a trick that lets you get flight, the effect of flight at least, from the dolphin and the rabbit boots, which normally just give you a jump.
Please, please, please. There's probably going to be windmill key or something like that. Oh, Sword of Fire. Well.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Nightdew, it's a good routing here. Getting off in the back here and going through town. So early on here, we don't have a lot of resources, so you have to be careful about your warping. We don't have like the teleport spell, and we don't have any way to, warp around. So you kind of have to figure out where you're gonna go without using any of these very useful warp boots.
Yeah, it's very smart. I mean, they have the option of just using the Wild Warp like Steve just did to go back, and he's probably going to go to the Bryn Mawr area, Cordell Plains area, but Nightdew chose to go to the Waterfall Cave first. We'll see what Steve does here. Yeah, it looks like he's doing just that, yep. So we have some divergence already, which is awesome.
And an interesting thing here, we have the, the sword charge. Oh,
well, that was the right play.
Wow.
Well, it's definitely not a Gozen seed. I'm sorry, I tried. So getting access to fly early on in this seed, not even 5 minutes in, gives them pretty much the whole world they can go to almost. Not quite. I mean, a few swords are missing, but... Well, I guess we're actually with Sword of Fire. They can't break wall wind, or wind walls. Wall wind. But otherwise, I can go to pretty much anywhere right now.
Yes, and another interesting effect is that in different from the Swiss round flags, we actually have access to the sword charge glitch. And so we don't have the Ball of Thunder, but we can use the glitch to get the level 2 Thunder Shot, and that gets us into Goa Fortress if we desire. And we're going to need to do that at some point, just because we need to beat all the bosses for story mode here.
So Akahana wants the ivory statue. Magic Ring. What was the other item there? I missed it. Well, next to Akahana.
I didn't see that one either.
Mirrored shield in the grass there. The Keladin spot.
It's always good to have a shield, especially
Definitely.
because in these flags we have we don't have barrier guaranteed to get through the walls. We do have flight, and there's a little trick with flight to get over those barriers.
Steve does not have still yet. He's going to Saber West now.
It looks like Nightdew's heading to where Steve just was, or actually is now, but Nightdew actually ahead here, because he has flight. That's a big find.
It gives him access to one more check on Saber West up the Rabbit Boots spot.
So, one interesting thing here is they have the Thunder Sword. That means that they have the whole other side of the world now with flight.
Yeah, well, Nightdew does. So it is interesting he's choosing to go do these checks when he could just go straight to like the Pyramid or backdoor of Goa.
That's right. It's you know, somewhat likely there will be something here, but maybe not.
Fruit of Lime? Like that? He kept it. Nightdew's going to Amazon, or Amazones. See what's in the basement here.
I guess at the moment they don't have. They still are short on warp boots, so we're gonna
That's
need
true.
some of those. Yeah, before we warp around again.
So Lasos Tyrand in the chat is asking what gets randomized in this because he says the Crystalis was quite linear from what he remembered, or they remember.
So there's quite a bit randomized. We've got the items, of course, and we have some hacks to the layout of the map that kind of get you more open world access from the beginning. One that's the big one, of course, is an open opening that goes from like the first area into the waterfall area, so you can walk from Leaf, the starting town, to Portoa, the town of water, which is normally sort of about mid-game.
Okay, Tornell wants the flame bracelet.
Now, with these flags, we have a lot more randomized than even in the Swiss rounds, and one of the things that's randomized is the elements. So all of the enemies have their weaknesses randomized, and we also have randomized trade-ins, which means that any sort of trade-ins are randomized, and that includes the bracelet that Tornell wants. Instead of the vanilla tornado bracelet he will ask for a random elemental bracelet. And in this seed, we have the flame bracelet.
Nightdew just got the key to prison, so he can go do Kill Best from behind if he chose to.
A really good find, because we have a flag called Story Mode on, which makes for some really interesting effects here. Story Mode, do you want to explain that, Tornell?
Yeah, so Story Mode basically means you have to have every sword, you have to beat all of the major bosses, that's all the 4 Tetrarchs in Goa, that's Kelbesk, Sabera, and Mado outside of Goa, as well as Dragon. And you also have to have, well, I guess it goes without saying you have to have all 3 bows. But because of that, he has access to Kelbesk 2 without having, or Kelbesk 1 I should say, without having to go through Saber North from the front. So he can just go fly up the ramp next to Portoa, go in the back and fight him there, and if he's lucky, he's weak to one of the 2 swords that he has, because bosses are also randomized. I think you said that earlier.
That's right, the elements that the bosses are weak to. So the number of elements that every enemy, including the bosses, are weak to is the same, and bosses are only weak to 1 element. So we'll see that there's 1 element that the bosses are weak to, and we don't know what it is until we go actually and fight them.
Oh, Nightdew went back in to get the other 2 items, I see. Did anybody check to see if Rage was fire?
I don't believe he's been checked, no.
Or Thunder, for that matter. I don't think he's been checked at all, has he?
No, and plus we have Flight, so we can pull off an interesting trick where we get behind him
that's a good point.
Get the 2 items in Portoa, yeah. Steve might be going for that right now.
Do it, Steve. Make me look smart. Yeah. He's doing it. Let's see if he has to do the glitch or not. Okay, so he doesn't have the sword that Rage wants, but is there a flyer here? No, I guess he gave up. Must not be a flying enemy. Because there's a flying enemy, he can bump you into there, push you past where Rage will push you out. So if you have flight, you can still fly over the spot and get to the answering machine where Messia says, "Come find me," blah blah blah, and then it lets you do a couple checks in Portoa at the Queen, which is really Athena behind the palace, and the Dolphin.
Now we have Steve joining Nightdew on the other side of the world, going for something over here. Let's see what they go here. This is actually definitely has to be the play, because there's a lot of items over here.
Well, no, Steve did get flight. I missed that. Okay, good.
Yeah, Steve's cleared out the waterfall cave, so he's all caught up.
Good. I was watching Nightdew for too long. This game, if you look away for 1 second, you can miss so much stuff because it's just so fast compared to, like, a Zelda game.
Okay, we've got a divergence here. Steve heading higher up the mountain. Nightdew got that first chest and then went on into, looks like he's going towards the pyramid, whereas Steve's heading up here. He's going to get the second chest that's accessible without the Sword of Wind.
And it's a Mimic. Is there a first Mimic?
I believe we've got one in the waterfall cave, so that's a second.
Guess I'll keep track for Gozen's sake. So Nightdew definitely heading towards the pyramid. Which is smart because Dragon is always weak to every sword, right? So you can beat him no matter what.
Taking advantage of some enemies here to grind. Still on level 3. I guess our scaling has stayed pretty low. We found a lot of consumables lately.
Yeah, I found some really good key items, but not very many. Yeah, I like to go ahead and go to the pyramid when I can, just to get it out of the way. And you have to beat Dragon anyway. I know some people like to save it till they're on the way to the end of the game, but see, like Hazmat Suit, that could be really critical in a minute. You know, who knows? It's just such a quick check to do, I feel like. I just like to go ahead and do it.
I think that if you've already got, you know, go mode or close to it, and you think that, you know, maybe you'll just kind of try and get your go mode beforehand, then you're close to the end, the crypt for the end. But if you're not, then you're right. There's, you know, a decent chance that one of these 3 items here could be useful.
Orb of water and hazmat suit so far. And fruit power, well. 2 out of 3.
And as we have access to Bryn Mawr in the area there, that hazmat suit is good for a check right now.
And they do not have telepathy yet, so they cannot do the rest of Oak, but they can at least get the Stom fight and the waypoint there if they need to go back later. And Nightdew is doing the backwards entrance to Saber North. I like this play. 50% chance that he has the sword he needs.
Yeah, this is a great play. Not a lot of items, but a place you've got to go eventually. And a decent chance that we'll be able to have the sword that we need.
Unfortunately, he does not.
And not going for the Tink fight.
Yeah.
Not a real bad Tink. I mean, it's definitely doable, but
he has tons of
he's got
healing
a lot
too.
of medical herbs.
Yeah, he definitely could have done it, but I don't blame him for not. And sometimes that fight just gets really nasty, depending on what kind of RNG you get.
We're still lacking armor. We don't have any good accessories, so it is. Yeah, it would be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, the way the seed started, I thought maybe this is gonna be a fast seed, but I'm not sure now. 16 minutes in, they're still at 9 scaling and 8 scaling.
So we have a question about what the hazmat suit is.
So that's something that maybe was somewhat recently changed, or I guess modified, you could say, in the randomizer. In the base game, you have what's called the gas mask. The gas mask just lets you go through the swamp area around the town of Oak without taking damage from the poison in the swamp. Well, we kind of merged the gas mask with what the leather boots used to do in the base game, which is let you walk across, you know, poison areas or spike areas without taking damage from walking across them. We merged that with the gas mask and call it the hazmat suit now. And we do that because we also changed what the base leather boots used to do to be what we call the speed boost now, which makes you walk, I forget how much faster, but it's significantly faster. And that used to also give you leather boots ability of walking across spikes, but we moved it over to the gas mask, which is now the hazmat suit, to make that a little more less desirable of an item, because speed boots were really good before, and they're still really good, but not as good now. Really long-winded explanation.
So we actually had an interesting divergence, at least it seemed like it, because Nightdew went ahead and used the hazmat suit to access Oak. However, he didn't actually go for the one check that he opened up after doing all that work to get to Oak.
Oop, no. Hope I didn't miss any more mix.
I don't think so. I think that was it.
I have a bad habit of looking off in space when I give those long explanations and not paying attention. And like you mentioned earlier, if they so choose to, they can sword charge glitch to level 2 Thunder and open up the iron wall at the vanilla power ring spot.
But we didn't see Steve or Nightdew do it.
Not yet, that's for sure. Which surprises me. I totally would have done it if it had been me playing this. That's just me. I love sword charge glitching, so any chance I get to do it, I totally do it.
And it's definitely a great chance to not have to come back here. You know, you don't have that kind of that stranded check hanging over you the whole time.
Right. It's very out of the way too. If you have to come back, I feel like it can vary. Wow, Nightdew getting beaten up by these mosquitoes and wyverns or wherever they are.
Steve's setting up the sword charge glitch now, but not healing himself first. gonna be a bit of a problem because once you set up the sword charge glitch, if you open up your menu, it gets canceled, and so he's not going to be able to go to his menu and heal himself.
Do you want to explain what the sword charge glitch is? I don't think we explained it earlier.
Oh. Okay, so sword charge glitch lets you kind of take the charge level that you've got on one sword and apply that to another sword. So right now we have level 2 on the fire sword, but only level 1 thunder sword. However, with the glitch, we can get level 2 on our thunder sword, which Steve just used to open that that barrier before he would have otherwise been able to.
Yeah, it was a smart play.
Because in the randomizer here, your the charge level of your sword controls. Oh, that's a big find. The charge level of your sword controls your sword's power, and so even if you glitch that sword level, that still keeps your power set up.
Yeah, like how Steve went ahead and broke that wall. That way
no
he
one
could
dropping that
drop
fruit of
items.
lime.
It's really surprising. I don't know if they're messing with us or what. Steve is showing off what you were talking about earlier with skipping the statues by flying over them versus having barrier. Nightdew doing the same thing now. So it's really funny, these guys were so far apart earlier. Well, not so far apart, but Nightdew had a slight lead, and now they're both doing Carmine at basically the same time.
And we don't have the sword for Carmine, but Steve, looking like he's gonna go for the Tink fight.
That's all it would, especially with fire. Makes it so much easier.
Our scaling is nice and low, which will help, but we don't have a lot of buffer as far as, well, we've got a shield, and that's gonna prevent, so the shield is, reduces your damage against projectiles, like these balls here. So that's kind of gonna give a little buffer, and he's got a lot of medical herbs.
Oh no!
You gotta avoid that, though.
That's the worst thing that can happen in this fight. He does not have a Fruit of Reaping, so... Oh, is he giving up? No, Steve, don't do it! He's giving up on that, but he's going to checkmate it. I love it. Or is he? No, he changed his mind. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unlikely that fighting Mato is good with this low resources. But just knowing the element, and knowing that you don't have the element. Yeah, if he's weak to fire, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I have wind now too, so you should totally check rage again. Do it, you're right there, do it.
Oh, not checking it.
Oh,
He's gonna go straight to... Let's see, we don't have the ball of wind, but we can glitch it. Maybe he's going for it.
I think he is. This is an easier one to glitch. It's a somewhat shorter cave versus like fog lamp. Mucho Deep So. We have different flags for pretty much any way you want to play the game. So we have much easier flags than what they're playing right now. If you want to get started on something easier and work your way up, you definitely can do that.
On the other hand, you can also go harder than this.
Meta Kirby, the 4 weaknesses are unique to each boss, so every boss has a different thing they're weak to.
So in the base game, when you kind of hit an enemy and you get that tinking sound, that actually does 0 damage, no damage at all. But in the randomizer, we've changed that, so now that tinking sound means that you're doing exactly 1 HP of damage. So if you just keep hitting them, they'll eventually go down.
Nice finding that ball of wind.
He won't need to do the glitch then.
Oh, and Steve just on Sword of Water. I love this seed.
Wow. That's the last sword.
It is. I should definitely do Rage. Oh, Nightdew's going to Evil Spirit, looks like. Sorry, you were about to say something a second ago. I think I interrupted you.
I was talking about Tink fights. and how you can beat any enemy, even bosses, with any sword, if you're willing to sit through the tinking. However, now that we have all 4 swords, that won't be necessary, or at least for Steve.
So by going to Rage and triggering the Messia answering machine, that allows him to go to Portoa now and get 2 more checks. Looks like he's going to go ahead and do that. Rage had a consumable himself. Nightdew is going to Evil Spirit Island, which has 9 total checks. But he has to hope that Sabera is not weak to water, because he doesn't have that yet. Although she's not super hard to tame like you were just talking about, so it's likely he will try and do that. Fog Lamp at the Angry Sea. I hope that comes into play later.
So we have randomized trade-in items, and the Fog Lamp is a trade-in item. So earlier we actually got the boat. We traded in the vanilla Fog Lamp. It was actually the Love Pendant instead. So that Fog Lamp is going to be the trade-in for someone else.
I think it's for Rillas, because Akahana wanted Ivory Statue, Kensu wanted Carissa Plant. We don't know what Kensu and Swan wants. Could be him too, I guess. Yeah, so it's Rillas or Kensu, I'm pretty sure. Steve's using that windmill key to enter the windmill cave, and I just found the Bow of Truth.
The Bow of Truth, one of the 3 bows that we need to beat the game. So Nightdew, a more conventional route because, well, we have to go to Evil Spirit Island sometime and beat the boss here. And so Steve is eventually going to find that pretty straightforward. The Windmill Cave has 6 items, so not a bad place to go, but not sort of a strictly necessary place.
Nightdew finding the Blizzard Bracelet, but still does not have the Sword of Water. Yeah, I mean, Steve going into Carissa Plant Cave was very... I feel like not what most of us would have done, but it ended up being a really good play. Like you said, considering the areas they had to go to, I was totally on Evil Spirit before I went over to that side of the world. Oh, Steve does not have Orb of Wind, though. Where did Nightdew get that?
I believe it is on Stom.
Oh, you're right, yes.
Yeah, and Steve still hasn't gone to Oak, so that's sort of an investment in time, just for 1 item at this point, without telepathy.
Oh no. Yes, we lost the sword charge glitch. She's gonna have to redo it. Don't think he realized. Oh, he hasn't gotten this item yet. Okay. Bow of Sun. So this is a very good play.
Yeah, actually turned out to be a pretty good play. The only problem is, without that sword charge glitch.
I wonder if he realizes yet. I need to be making short work of the vampire and getting the flame bracelet.
That's actually a big milestone because now we have a sword. Oh.
I wasn't paying attention. Earring broke the wall. Sorry about that.
Now Nightdew actually has a sword with level 3 power that he can use.
Can you say Lag Storm?
So Steve opened this wall. Did he get all of the items in the basement of the cave?
He did. Well, I think. Did he get the top item above, like, the
That's what I'm
Orb of
trying
Wind
to remember,
spot?
yeah.
I don't remember. I missed it if he did. I'm guessing he did, though, because he opened all the rest of the walls first. So. Orb of Thunder.
And we have, of course, Sabera. Oh, no, we have the weakness.
Nightdew having some bad luck clipping into Severa there, pushing him down. Antidote. It's kind of like a meme at this point.
Steve doing some more glitching here. He may never need that ball of the ball of wind if he
Doesn't
keeps
look
looking
like it.
at this.
Oh, he has recovered though. Oh, he just glitched though. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have used it. He would have lost his glitch here. He's trying to mount Hydra. So your sword charge glitch is retained if you do sort of like a checkpoint and then reset. That keeps your sword charge glitch. It's if you go to your menu, then you lose it.
Yeah, I commend Steve for making this play. 'Cause it's not easy to sword charge glitch Hydra. Oh, and Nightdew's finally doing Crystalis Plant, which is surprising to me a little bit. So he will now have another level 3 sword.
Oh no, that's right. Steve
Oh,
found the Orb of Thunder.
Oh, where was Orb of... Oh, that's right. Oh, Sword of Water was in here at the end, right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no. This is gonna be a rough. This is gonna be a rough go for the sword charge glitched Hydra.
I'm a little bit surprised nobody's trying to enter Goa from the front at this point and see what Kelbask is weak to. Especially Steve. He definitely could anyway.
That's, you know, the obvious play, I would say. So, Goa Fortress having 4 bosses that you have to defeat to satisfy the story mode flags that we have on here. So, something that you have to do, and a lot of items in between those bosses, too. So, a pretty strong play that neither runner is taking.
Oh wait, Nightdew has Tornado Bracelet. I missed that.
So Nightdew doesn't have the Ball of Thunder. I think he's gonna get it here, but without that, he doesn't have Logical as so the sword charge glitch is not considered like logically required, but it can save a lot of time. So Steve getting towards the back of Hydra here.
Did he check the Gozen Ledge? I missed it.
Oh, I missed that one too. I'm pretty sure he got it though.
Mimic. I have no idea if my Mimic count is even right, but I'll try. So Hydra seems to be kind of a bust.
And where's
It's
Nightdew
unfortunate.
going now? Walking back through the palace.
Fog Lamp, maybe? It's the only spot on this side of the world that they haven't been to that I can remember.
Okay,
Is it
Steve
fine?
finally making the play we were talking about.
Alright, Steve, let's see it. Is he going to go forward, or is he going to go to Chiron? He's going forward, alright.
Do it!
Well, Nightdew's going back to Kelbesk 1. Forgot he didn't finish this. Ooh, yeah, there you go. The Blizzard Bracelet will make this easy. Will he remember the paralysis spot check? That's the question.
So a change from the vanilla game here. In the vanilla game, you get paralysis when you at a certain place at the end of that passageway. In the randomizer here, you have to beat Kelbesk 1 first. Then, if you go in either the front or the back of that passageway, you can pick up an item that'll be the vanilla paralysis spot. That's changed for Nightdew.
Yeah, the insect flute changed so far. Oh, Steve. That's too bad.
No, he's putting it off again? Not realizing that he can go back there, sword charge glitch up. I guess he's short on healing items, but still, he has refresh.
Yeah. And like 2 magic rings and flight to go over the barriers. Although he probably doesn't want to quit flight if he's sword charge glitching.
Nightdew's going to clear out all of the items here in Mount Saber North. So we have the item on Kelbesk himself. There's the paralysis spot that you now have to beat him to get. There's the key to prison spot. And then there's these 2 chests in the caves here. And so the first one is a mimic.
So is it faster to go back down the big ramp and go in the front with the guards than just to go back the backwards way from Kelbesk?
I'm not sure actually.
I mean, I need to time that, but I haven't taken the time to do it. I see people do both ways, and I wasn't really sure.
We don't actually have teleport here, so, you know, any sort of warping is going to need warp boots. Steve, just making sure he didn't miss that spot. He's finally making the play to Oak, it looks like.
So
Meanwhile, Nightdew, yeah, he's going to do the windmill cave, and he's going to be real happy with the items there quite a bit, and he's going to have an easier go of it too. He won't need the sword charge glitch at all.
Yes. Steve checking Stom finally, which will get him his Orb of Wind, and he'll probably be very sad about that. Although he might do Evil Spirit now. I always forget that Tornell tells you what bracelet he wants by doing that sequence as well.
Now on Nightdew's side, we have the flame bracelet, so you know, he could go back and get that, but we have so much other stuff to get too.
Especially since Nightdew already checked the vanilla tornado bracelet spot, so it's really a long way out of his way just for one check.
Steve taking the dolphin. The dolphin is faster than flying, but it takes a little time to summon it, so... On the other hand, with the dolphin, you can kill these things, which Steve just goes by, but they're worth good experience, and we're only on level 4. Our scaling is starting to get up there. It might be a good idea to get some, start getting a little more levels here, especially since we're going to be fighting bosses soon.
Okay, so that other item in the Windmill Cave was just an opal statue, so even if Steve missed it, it's not a huge deal. Which I don't think he did, but another opal statue, jeez.
So after this, we'll, we've got, both runners have pretty much checked about the same stuff. I guess Steve has done Mount Hydra, which Nightdew hasn't. Is there anything Nightdew's done that Steve hasn't, once he finishes Windmill Cave here? No, he's in Evil Spirit Island.
Yeah, he's in Evil Spirit. I don't think so after that. Well, it's Saber North, right?
That's right, yeah. So Nightdew's done Saber North, and Steve has done Hydra.
Steve actually does not have Key to Prison yet, because that was in the Tornado Bracelet spot.
Ah, right. There's actually no movement boost by using your sword if you don't hit anything. It's just something to do while you're walking around. Also, you know, a lot of enemies move really fast in this game, and so if you are stabbing and an enemy just sort of runs into you, it's better to run into your sword than it is to run into you.
You can also push some enemies with your sword.
But Steve, not pushing these enemies, he could use the experience.
Definitely.
And those enemies are actually, those plant-type enemies are good experience.
They're relatively non-threatening, too.
We should probably explain about the scaling here.
Oh, yeah.
So the number to the right of the level there, so it's 21 for Steve and 25 for Nightdew, that's their scaling. And your scaling factor goes up 1 point for every key item that you get. So every unique item, that goes up. So you can see Nightdew's done a few extra checks, he's got 25. It's going to keep going up. And that scaling factor controls how strong the enemies are. So as that scaling factor goes up, the enemies get stronger. They do more damage, they take more hits, they have higher defense, but at the same time, they also give more experience, and they drop more gold. And that, but it's also, you need more gold because the prices at the shop are going to be higher. So Nightdew, going into Goa Fortress here. This is a spot that Steve hasn't been. He noped out of that Kelbest 1 fight. This is good for Nightdew. I would say he's in the lead now because he has he's beaten more bosses now, and he's also kind of getting more territory here. He has all the swords, so there's no reason he's not gonna be able to just roll right through Goa Fortress here, finish all the bosses, and there's a decent chance that the last bow is in one of these chests here.
So looks like Steve is choosing to go in the back of Goa here. I'm being told that Nightdew found the Bow of Moon in Sabera's area, so I'm going to trust chat on that. Try and catch his menu, or their menu open at some point.
So that's go mode for Nightdew here. He's got everything he needs, and he just needs to... Oh, and that was a big find. You know, with no accessories, I totally don't blame him for continuing to check items in go mode, and it pays off.
It wouldn't hurt to find the other orb for Sword of Thunder. If Mado happens to be weak to that. Psycho Shield was in the power ring spot, the vanilla power ring spot.
A pretty good find. The best, one of the best shields as far as defense power, and it's also very. It prevents almost every status ailment, which is very useful depending on what enemy you're up against.
So luckily for Nightdew, Mado is not weak to thunder. Looks like it's water. With the power ring, this should be a really short fight. Well, he has no mana, never mind. Okay, power rings, magic rings, fruit powers. And down goes the boss. At this point, Nightdew is quite far ahead. All three bows, just trying to get the bosses out of the way for story mode flags.
On the other hand, Steve isn't that far behind because when he goes back through the fortress here, he's going to check those chests. He's going to find his last bow, and he's going to beat the bosses. However, he is going to be missing... He's still missing the Kelbest 1 fight, and he's going to have to go back and beat Mado 2 or Mado 1 as well.
Unless they find teleport and telepathy in here, he's locked out of Saber North until he goes and gets the key to prison. Which really hurts because he doesn't know that's what's there.
And at this point, that's a one-off check. I guess it's a two-off check now because he has the bracelet for Tornell. For you. We have a little high five here at Carmine.
They both ran on me.
So the next question is, will Nightdew remember that there's one more boss to beat before he can actually, you know, go ahead and finish this game off?
Good question. I hope not. It means we get more race. Oh, he has teleport. Nightdew does. I missed that.
So he's going to Shiren here, but that was his last warp boots.
Yes, teleport.
Oh. Oh, I missed that. Where was teleport?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. He must have found it in Goa. I don't know.
This is actually a really low scaling level for these flags.
It really is. And that's go mode for Nightdew. Click these last two boxes here, 3 boxes. Yeah, 31 scaling, level 10's probably fine. 11 won't hurt you. So close to it, might as well at that point.
Yeah, this is going to be a fairly comfortable finish. Without the... we don't have the lag storm, which is the kind of the easiest way to go through this final gauntlet, but the second easiest, most people would go with the flame bracelet, which we do have. And plus, we've got the power ring, which just makes everything easier.
I'm not going to talk about Tornado Bracelet.
It's a particular favorite of mine.
I like it now!
And when that happened, we didn't even have the slowdown.
No.
So basically, if you have the power ring, you're better off using that along with a level 3 sword, and then you'll have just really strong damage output that you can use to get through these final bosses and the tower robots, which we'll see in a little bit here. If you go with some other accessory, then you're foregoing a lot of power. So Steve's going to be getting some extra checks that Nightdew didn't have to do because he had everything he needed. On the other hand, even after he gets that last bow, he still needs access into Mount Hydra or Mount Saber North in order to do his Kelbesk 1 fight. So Steve's got quite a bit of playing left to go.
Oh, good pattern on Dragon there.
Looks like we're going to see a sub-hour finish here. One of the fastest Cs we've seen on these flags.
Didn't you have like a 46 or something crazy? Like in a practice seed, I mean?
I might have, yeah. I know, I mean, yeah, in practice I've finished, you know, around 40 minutes with like a really lucky seed, but I don't think we've seen anything like that in our races here.
I think this is definitely the fastest. I guess we could have switched the audio to Nightdew. Oh, it says we can't. Never mind. For whatever reason, it says not usable.
So now we'll see all the items that were here in Saber's area. So one of these is going to be the bow. Meanwhile, Nightdew finishing up the second floor of the tower here.
Yeah, they're just breezing through this so far. With the scaling and level they have, it's no surprise. Paralysis? So it must have been here. Or maybe they got it from Kelbesk. I don't know. It must have been Kelbesk.
Hmm. Nightdew getting his Crystalis sword. Heading off to the final fight with Dinah.
Also, since they do not have barrier, Nightdew is choosing to shoot the turrets on the side first, which is the safer tactic.
Without barrier, probably the right play. And I don't think we have so much resources that it would be that we could kind of... I guess we have refresh. I didn't see how many magic rings he would have, but once you've got those sides down, as you can see, the actual heart is not much of a problem.
Yeah, so that bow was on Kelbesk.
So we have a winner with official SRL time of 55 minutes and 55 seconds. Congratulations, Nightdew.
5. Should be joining us soon for an interview, hopefully. Steve talking to Stalin there.
Hello.
Hello, GG's.
Thank you.
So, what are your impressions of the seed? I know it's not Gozen level, but...
It was nowhere near Gozen level. I made all the right checks. I really kind of thought immediately, like, I was, especially, like, going to Oak and then figure out my warp boot situation was less than stellar. I'm like, man, this looks terrible for routing here, but I'm gonna fade this thing.
And then,
yeah.
Oh, no boots. Really, I think the play, it wouldn't have cost you the race, but the play that helped you the most was definitely going to Saber North and getting the key to prison. Because Steve still does not have access to Saber North at this point.
Oh, okay, Saber West. I was feeling really bad about Saber West because I was poisoned. I hit chest 3, and I'm like, no, it's time to leave here. I'm not making that last chest. And I'm sitting here with 3 bracelets. I'm like, well, Tornell's looming up there. He's got a chest and his drop, and, but no, as soon as I found Sword of Water, I'm like, well, that's everything. We just, and I considered sword charging into go a fortress, but I figured out, let's do Windmill Cave. I'm sure it might have something, like, you know, 2 opals, sun, and the Orb of Thunder. Yeah, that was enough to say, okay, well, it's time to get this thing done, so.
Yeah, Steve actually sword charge glitched into Goa and then bailed out because he didn't have any ball or bracelet for the Sword of Wind at that point. But he did have Sword of Water, so if he just pushed through Kelbesk, he probably would have been done with Goa before you.
Yeah, the one thing I've found on these seeds, at the very least, is if I have the ability to do a very low scaling Kelbesk 1, I'm going to do a very low scaling Kelbesk 1.
Yeah, definitely. I think anytime you can go to Goa low scaling, do it.
That too. It's just the boss, and I'm sure everybody else is like just dislikes the most here. And yeah, if I can get rid of him at less than 20, I consider it a win.
Oh no, Steve is definitely following the wrong breadcrumbs, going back up to, I think, Slime Kensu.
Oh no, he didn't find like Warrior Ring or Speed Boots or anything like that. I got super lucky just rabbit holing 1 or 2 of those chests and or that one chest in Mado's area. I'm like, Power Ring, okay, well, I'm done now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually missed you get the last bow from Killbest 2, and chat told us. We're like, oh, well, I guess he's in go mode then, once he beats the bosses.
Oh yeah, that's why you saw me just like fly through Sabera's area with the exception of the one chest. I'm like, well, you know, I'm gonna pick up what's on the way now, but I mean, there's no reason to stop for anything at this point.
Storm Bracelet, well.
That's what it was.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah. Steve also had the Ball of Thunder, which I don't remember at all where that was. You never found it.
I had the ball, but...
Oh, you did? Well, we missed it.
Yeah,
I think it was Windmill Cave.
It was Windmill. I think it was.
I thought it was, but I swear it must have been the first spot I didn't see. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because Windmill was loaded.
Because we had 2 opals in there, I know.
Opals, both Sun and the Orb of Thunder, yeah.
Right. Steve actually sword charge glitched Carissa Cave, Hydra, and not Evil Spirit. He had the ball by then, but
yeah, I didn't want to touch Hydra until I had Stixie, and it never showed itself.
Yeah,
so.
Hydra was a total bust, from what I remember.
Yeah. Steve actually had all of the swords first.
Yeah, wait, what did I do? Oh yeah, I beeline DSI as soon as I hit win. That's right.
Already found that. Yeah, that clue is so misleading sometimes.
I mean, it can be useful if, you know, it's your last bow or something, but
Yeah.
when you're looking for that key to prison, it's not as useful.
Or what happened to me the other day, I found eyeglasses, which gave me something else. But if I'd never gotten those eyeglasses, I couldn't have finished the seed. It was like crazy, I don't know. But it didn't tell me about the eyeglasses. I had to go look for it. It told me about, like, hazmat suit or something. I forget.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think you said, like, the priority was, like, on swords and bows, and then spells, and then other things.
Right. Just because it tells you one thing at the same level doesn't mean there can't be more, though. That's the other thing, remember? Or something of lesser priority.
If he's going to call in the Angry Sea, we know that's a fog lamp.
I'm guessing it was Aurelius that wanted the fog lamp. Or Kinsu and Swan. Had to be one of the two.
Yeah, it was one of those there.
Did he just...
I don't think he has the golden statue.
Oh,
he just landed it to fly off. Shorter, I guess.
Okay.
I thought he ghetto fly at first.
That's what I was thinking.
He's checking Swan Kinsu.
Yeah, because Change was super buried up in Saber North, right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So this could be Barrier, it could be Warrior Ring, it could be Consumable, of course. Oh, or Telepathy, that's
There
the
we
option,
go, yeah.
Oh, telepathy. That's
So now we have Saber North access.
that's a
Not the way you did it.
Right. That will get him there, though. Yeah.
Oh, there's Warrior Ring.
Also, I really missed that we had to we had to get Leaf kidnapped very soon because those were some of the cheapest dwarf boots I've ever seen.
Yeah, I missed the start, so I didn't get to see how much they were.
They were 43 gold along with
Wow.
like 20 gold medical herbs. Oh yeah, the Leaf item shop was great, and then we had to get rid of it.
Oh, but wait, Steve. So you have to talk to Zebu, and then you have to go through the barrier. So Steve has gone through the barrier, he's talked to Zebu, but he did it in the wrong order.
And then he,
So we have
well,
to-
then he has to come back and talk to the rabbit anyway, too, so... And Teleport was back on Mado, too, so...
That's where it was.
Alright.
Most of
So
the time I
there's
talk
an
to Zeb
invisible-
to make sure, but...
Yeah, there's an invisible trigger space right behind where Zebu, right behind where that wall is.
Yeah, I'm glad he is going the correct direction, so we're glad there. Oh, he does have... Oh, no, he did... Was it Zebo 2 or was it Sabera 2? He's got teleport. Huh.
I'm surprised he didn't go ahead and do Mado 1 as well.
He went there and talked to Stom on the ground, so I think he did. That's why I marked it
Okay.
off.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't actually see him do the fight. But I swear he talked to Stom and made sure Stom was dead. So
That's the important thing.
he beat Mado.
Someday I will check on Stom, but that day was not today. Alright, well, if that's all you got for me here, I'm gonna settle in and watch Steve go through the rest of this here. Thanks for commentating, guys.
Thanks for the race. It's fun.
Yep.
Thanks,
Yep.
yeah. So Steve with the warrior ring, this is going to make this fight a little easier. And so the time that Steve is finishing here, not at all bad for these flags. This is story mode can really put you through your paces.
Yeah, I'd say it's about average, probably what he'll end up with. Maybe a little above average. So at this point, is he just trying to get levels, or...?
Probably. His scaling factor is a little higher. It seems like you could find a better spot, but...
Yeah, soldiers are generally not the best thing to farm. Because their defense is so high, right?
Yeah.
I think this seed just trying to make up for Nightdew's last seed.
He did get pretty lucky with that key to prison there. But once we get to the next round of the tournament, that won't save you. Because we have the rabbit skip and the teleport skip enabled.
That's correct. Which they definitely could have done because they had flight, so they easily could have accessed that.
The question is, low scaling usually faster? And yes, usually lower scaling is faster because that means you're getting fewer items, you're checking fewer places, and then the enemies are going to be easier. So your actual attack power and defense power does not depend on the scaling factor. So if you have a lower scaling factor and the same equipment and the same level, you're actually going to be relatively stronger compared to the enemies. So being at a low scaling factor is actually really advantageous.
So we can go ahead and mark off Mado and assume he did it, and then if it ends if he didn't, I'll unmark it. Does he just want armor?
Are we looking for the...
Is he trying to show off like the armor or shield nobody buys? He is, yep.
the ceramic suit. So in the randomizer, the defense values for the armor has been changed a little bit. The Psycho armor is no longer the highest defense. that now belongs to the ceramic armor, which
Isn't
is
the-
randomly in one of the shops.
Is it Battle Shield? Is the best shield now?
That's right, I think it's the battle shield. So, usually, so the prices in the shops here are scaling, and they scale as your scaling gets higher. The prices for shields and armor actually go down. So as your scaling goes up, the amount of gold that you get from enemies goes up, and the price goes down. So you're more likely to be able to afford that expensive armor. And the maximum scaling is here is 47. So there's still so that price can still come down further, and the amount of gold that we can get can still go up. So still not quite able to get that ceramic mail. There are 2 armors that are shuffled in with all of the items, and that's the Psycho Armor and the Battle Armor. Now in the randomizer, the Battle Armor has slightly higher... Oh no!
It's like the worst place. Oh, he burned the opal too. I guess he's like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So the Battle Armor has slightly higher defense. The Psycho Armor has the ability to increase your HP as you as long as you stand still.
And battle armor also prevents you from getting poisoned. Did you say that? No, you said that.
So Steve going for manipulation here and not getting it. So this fight actually, we need the dragon, we need this big dragon to open his heart to us. And he won't do it until he decides that you've either taken a hit or you've gone around a little bit and danced with his projectiles there. But you can trick him into thinking that you've taken a hit by getting onto an odd pixel. And one of the ways you can do that is by actually taking a hit. Or you can use some tricks to get yourself on an odd pixel by just getting in the right position.
And if you're on the right pixel, what chance is it that he opens up? I forget. Isn't it a certain percent?
That's right, yeah, it's not 100%, but... you know, when I was making the task, it was kind of like I just needed to get it what happened to once, so... So another change in the semi-final flags that Tornell and I are going to be playing in next week sometime is going to be that these tower robots here, which are super powered, these guys are going to be able to appear anywhere in the game randomly. Have you tried those semi-flags yet, Tornell?
I've done 2 seeds so far, not as much as I wanted. I like it. I like having RO on for sure, which lets you break walls without having to have the ball.
So the RO, yes, the RO flag lets you break walls at level 1. That's going to make things interesting in the semis flags there. So Nightdew has one more round with these flags. But on the winners bracket, we've got the next games are going to be best 2 out of 3, and they're going to be using these new semifinal flag sets.
You said Tower Robots, RO, and those are the only 2 differences? I think there's something else. I guess not. Oh, like you said earlier, the Rabbit Glitch, Teleport Glitch are available as well.
So if you go to the Crystalis Randomizer, at crystalisrandomizer.com, we have a preset there for these flags. We have a preset for the Swiss rounds in the earlier flag set. Those were a little easier than these because you didn't need to beat the bosses. You just needed the bows and flight. And then there's even tougher flags for the finals, should any of us get there.
I'm really hoping I do, because it has randomized maps on it, and I love randomized maps.
Steve going for the hero attacking through. Oh wow!
Full
And
man
he gets
mode.
it. All right, let's all get some GGs in the chat.
So he finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 9 seconds.
Congratulations, Steve.
GG's. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
GG's.
Thanks.
That was an interesting seed.
That really
What were your
was.
thoughts on it?
I liked it. I mean, I knew basically, so I was glitching like crazy with the sort of wind, and after I was getting so much progression, I was just like, this is totally in logic. I just don't know where the orb is.
Yeah, and you eventually found the orb on Stom.
Yeah, and I was like, it's somewhere here. It's at first I'm like, oh man, I'm seeing getting all these great items. I got the sort of water early and whatever, and that could actually give me the advantage I need because I needed a big advantage here.
Yeah, and you actually used the sword charge glitch to get into Goa, and you kind of noped out when you got to Kelbesk.
Yeah, no, I forget what happened, but I was like, I don't have the what I need to get this.
He was
I mean,
waiting
maybe
to,
a more skilled player
okay.
could have done it, but yeah, I was like, I don't have quite the thing here yet, so I'll have to
You
try
actually had
again
all
later.
4 swords first.
Yeah, that makes sense. But no, this is actually I think a PB for me, so I'm pretty happy with the time.
Oh,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I needed a miracle to I've never actually gotten under an hour, so I needed a miracle to beat Nightdew here, and
Yeah, unfortunately, the miracle came on Nightdew's side. He checked the vanilla tornado bracelet spot and found the key to prison fairly early.
oh
And
man,
that was the
yeah.
big deciding factor, yeah.
The tornado bracelet spot. Yeah, I never went there, did I? I totally forgot. I marked it off on my tracker and everything. So that could have been really bad. How did I forget to do that? Oh, I think I never went back with Flight. I went there early, and Flight was in the waterfall cave, wasn't it?
Nightdew
Yeah.
got
So
right after you guys went to the sea. That's where he went first thing.
yeah, so first, then you have Flight when you get to Saber West, and you don't forget the chest.
And Nightdew finished with 31 scaling.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a big difference. It was a pretty fun seed. I was pretty happy with it. The tower was fun without barrier. I felt like a flame was fun there. Looking for the way into... I mean, the Kelbesk blocking, it seems like it keeps happening. There's a few times now it's happened. Done getting into Saber North.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I think once we've got, once it's harder to get into Evil Spirit. Speaking of which, that's like Bracelet Island there. But once it's harder to get into Evil Spirit, it'll be. I think we'll be seeing more cities that are blocked on Sabera as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future flag sets for sure.
Yeah, we got some good stuff. And now that I'm out of the tournament, I can focus all my time on development. So that'll be nice.
Man, you had a really good run though, and like you said, even tonight was a really good run for you. So I'm
No, like I said, I was
sad to
happy
see you
with
go.
it. I was not expecting to win this one. I was sort of a long shot, but no, it was fun to do one more, and I'll certainly be doing the weekly races or whatever once the tournament's over, and if we have another tournament next year or something, or in the fall, whenever, yeah, I'm up for that. But
Cool.
I'm looking forward to getting into some of the new features. We've got a lot of great ideas, and it's going to be fun to kind of get those out. And as people fall out of the tournament, we'll have more people playing on the new settings and testing them out, and hopefully get something out there in one of the stable branches pretty soon. So it's going to be fun.
So Nightdew, as the winner of this race, will be taking on the winner of the Dragon Dark versus Demarin race. And then the winner of that race will take on the loser of the race between me and Tornell.
Yep.
So one of us may be up against Nightdew in the not so distant future.
Well, good luck to both of you.
Thank you. Have to get past Axeman. That's all I gotta do.
That's it. Piece of cake.
Yeah, no
right.
big deal. It's not like I've never beaten Axeman, I don't think. Ever.
It's the Tasser and the Wise Man.
And Magic called me something else the other day, but I won't say that right now. Anyway, any other final thoughts before we head on out?
No, I think that's all I got. Thanks for commentating. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hosting SpeedGaming. It's been a great run, great tournament, and looking forward to doing more of them.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Steve here, because we said it earlier, but just in case somebody wasn't around, he's also the developer of the Randomizer, and he mentioned, things to come earlier, but just want to give another big shout out to him for creating this, and I've had a ton of fun with it over the last year. I can't wait to see what else is going to be added in the future.
Just check out Mado 3 mode.
Is that what Magic was doing last night?
Yeah, all bosses at Mado 2 speed.
Yeah, that was fun.
A little insane.
The insect was my favorite, I think, though.
Yeah. No, it's little gag seeds. I like to do those from time to time. But cheers.